everybody, it's Romania Black, and my bro's here.
Yo.
He's keeping Huckleberry at bay, as you all know. But, man, we're on the final episode of One Piece. Live action, I'm pretty sad about that. I wish we had more. I like the fact that they are working on season 2, and that we've just got to wait a little while, but I'm confident that they'll get it done in less time than 7 years. Probably. Somebody was telling me in the Discord that the transponder snails are just puppets. They're puppets that have CGI elements added to them, which look really cool. So I'm hopeful that maybe when they do, although they've said they want to make Chopper a person and just add elements. My brother's face is like, here's my stance on that. If you know One Piece, you probably know the character Chopper. And Chopper is a character that either you have to make it all puppetry or CGI, or you have to go with a person and do some kind of motion capture or something. There is no middle ground. And it's like, do they spend all of their budget on a bad CGI Chopper, or do they get a person that they can add? Because here's the thing, if you get a kid, even if the kid has an adult voice, you can use motion capture to hide the face. So even if the kid has to age or the actor has to change, you can keep the same voice and change actors. So, I don't know. I feel like it's picking the lesser of two evils, because that character's going to be horrible to try to animate. I mean, with other characters that we won't go into, because they're maybe less known, you really have no choice but CGI. There's just no way around it. But I don't know. What do you think about that?
Yeah, a little.
A little. I mean, would you rather see a CGI puppetry character that looks bad, or a more human character that has maybe more versatility?
I almost say the motion capture suit might work.
Yeah. I don't know. I would be curious to know, like, test screenings. Although, I don't know. I feel like they're going to have to test it through an audience, kind of like what they did with the Sonic the Hedgehog movie, where they did the first trailer came out and Sonic had human teeth, and it was the creepiest thing known to man. And then they changed it because they realized, oh, wait, why did we do that? People thought it looked creepy.
Yeah, it was a good call on them to listen to the fans.
Yeah, it's just, you would think that before they got to that point, they would have did, like, you would think the CGI animators and special effects artists would have been like, is this a bad idea? Instead of spending money and going through with it and then realizing it was terrible.
Well, they probably had somebody who thought it was a good idea, and then they just needed to give them a wake-up call.
They should not have been listened to. Jeffrey and PR should not have been listened to. But I am excited for season 2. I'm excited to see how this ends. This is actually a pretty short episode. It's only 49 minutes. So it's the shortest episode of the season, which we have to defeat Arlong. So it's like, okay, well, what are we going to do?
And possibly get away from the Marines.
That's the one thing I'm curious about, is how are the Marines going to factor into all this? Like, because you know that this is the end of the season. So they're probably going to defeat Arlong. How are we going to do that? And then the Marines are there. How are we going to wrap up the Buggy storyline, wrap up the Marine storyline, and wrap up the main storyline and get it ready for season 2? Because I don't think they're going to leave on a cliffhanger, maybe a soft cliffhanger, to be like something to look forward to, but I don't think it's going to be like a big, Luffy's on the edge of a cliff. Oh no!
I kind of want them to, like, beat Arlong. Nezumi's there to, like, take over, take any money and stuff. Nami calls him out, and he's like, who's going to believe you? And then there's Garp right behind him. I
really hope that happens, too. I hope Nezumi gets some comeuppance from Granddaddy Garp. Would be really, really good. Mm-hmm. I'm hopeful for that, too. Apparently, this was a few episodes ago, but apparently MIHAWK is insanely, the actor from MIHAWK is insanely popular in Japan. Like, people are really happy with the MIHAWK. It's been the most popular episode we've done so far has been the MIHAWK one, because everybody's like, oh my god!
Well, I like the way they made MIHAWK look.
Oh, he's great! Like, the actor's perfect. So,
like I said, you could put the Mennonite Spanish guitar behind him, and it does not sound out of place.
There was something that was mentioned in the Discord, but I'm not going to bring it up till spoiler corner. Somebody was going to ask you something, and I don't want to bring it up till spoiler corner because it is a spoiler. So, Just remind me about that, because somebody was like, ask your brother about this, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna put a pin in that for today because it's the last episode, but I'm gonna have to remember it. So yeah, I don't know how we're going to wrap everything up, but last episode was very emotional, very very deeply moving. I loved seeing the badass panel of all the Straw Hat crew getting ready to go fight for Nami's sake. Like, seeing it in live action was really good. That was great. Nojiko and Jinko and Bellmare were really good. But yeah, we'll find out how we get this going, right? So we're not going to waste any more time. We're going to start this episode, the final episode of season 1 of the live action One Piece. We're going to do that here in 3, 2, 1, and make sure all my subtitles are on. We're all good. And let's go. Oh my god, I'm so... Yeah, we'll talk about that. A little preview there, a little end there. I'm glad they've cast that person already. Yay! Well, that was the end of an episode. That's not exactly how I thought the Marines were going to get involved, honestly. I thought they were going to, like you said, go actually to Arlong's fight. But I kind of like they left that like the manga. They let Luffy and them resolve it. Now, it has been a very long time since I've read the manga and watched the anime. You caught up before we started this. How does Arlong go down in the manga?
Em and Luffy, originally, they all burst through the gate.
Mm-hmm.
The Arlong Park's next to a beach. I don't know why it's not part of a beach here.
Maybe they couldn't get the location.
They call out using Haki, the octopus fishman, the giant sea bull.
Mm-hmm.
Luffy gets stuck in the ground because he planted his feet into the concrete, so he grabbed the bull by the horns and literally spin him around as a pinwheel.
What a fun manga.
He gets stuck like that.
Right.
And Arlong pulls the piece out of the ground and throws it into the water, where Nojiko and Jinzo are taking turns holding Luffy's head out of the water while they go down there and break the concrete, just for Sanji to go down there and break it himself.
Uh-huh.
Then he gets free, and him and Arlong fight until they go into the Arlong Park, where they go into Nami's map-making room, and Luffy does what he did there. He breaks his sword, and then just wrecks the entire room.
Right, wrecks the entire room. So that part's pretty much the same throughout.
He finishes him with the battle axe.
Gotcha, yes. It's funny because One Piece was a week-to-week series, and now Oda's been doing it for like 30 years, so he can just take off a month if he wants to. But in those type of things with the manga and anime, when you're doing a week-to-week thing, you don't want to wrap up something too quickly. So you have plenty of time to do like the Nojiko and Ginzo subplot and like the thing in the concrete. I can't imagine them doing that in this. It would just destroy the pacing. I thought the pacing in this was really good throughout. And they do a lot of things with each of the characters that I'm like, that's perfectly in character with what they're like. So I couldn't remember if Arlong was crushed by the building and if that happened in canon or...
Yeah, Luffy battle axes him. He goes through several floors, and then they just leave his body buried.
In the Rebel of Arlong Park. Yep. That makes sense. The actress who played young Nami was so good. Like, for a kid actor to play that, I thought she did really, really good. I liked her a lot. And then they all show up here. I'm glad the town all knows Nami's sacrifice now. They caught that up with the canon we were talking about last week.
Well, yeah, in the anime and manga, they already knew.
And here they all know now. And then Nami's like, no, Ginzo, I love you, but in this story, you're not going to go do the fight.
They still go. This is
right.
That happens before she stabs her arm.
Oh, that's right. She's going to go fight them. The town's going to go fight them, and that's where she gets...
That's when she starts stabbing herself, and that's why Johnny and Usako are there.
Okay.
They stop them from going near the gate.
Okay, so we just kind of rearranged some of the plot elements.
We rearranged some of it to make up for a lack of
those characters.
2 sub-characters that are never going to be brought up again.
Yeah, after this arc, we never see them again, right?
No, they stay in Cocoa Village.
Yeah, so it's just like they were here, and then now they're gone. Dunzo, right?
Yeah.
That all makes sense. Nezumi, I'm glad Nami bopped him with the thing at the end, because I was like, he needs some comeuppance. He needs to get...
And she does beat him up, and then he gets, for his last act of revenge, for we never see him ever again, is getting Luffy his bounty.
Yep, so that's like his last thing here, but oh my gosh, like... I just love the Marines are getting, like, just entangled in this family drama between Garp and Luffy. They're like, wait, what? What is this family soap opera? What's happening? What's going on? Oh my god. Can we talk about Usopp? Can we talk about Usopp getting the one guy in the face and then running off? Can we?
That's what he does.
Yeah.
In the manga,
Yes.
he's like, "You humans think."
I just love that it's constantly with Usopp. He gets like one hit in. It doesn't do as much damage as he thinks it's gonna do. And then suddenly he's targeting. He's like, oh shit, and runs away. But then he somehow like wins the day at the end and then makes this big elaborate story about it. And it's like, oh, Usopp.
That's part of how he does it in the manga, only that guy was using water from a rice paddy field.
Oh.
But Usopp like throws a bottle of alcohol, shoots it, puts the alcohol over him, and then blows him up.
I kind of liked how this was because it was a nice little foreshadowing that he'd been drinking the whole time. And then he's like, well, fire doesn't do anything to me. And Usopp's like, yeah, but it makes more sense because it gave Usopp more time to plan. Being like, oh, he's got the alcohol there. Perfect. And then doing the
he also beats him in the anime manga by using the infamous Usopp hammer technique with a rubber band thrown in. Where he actually hits somebody in the forehead with a rubber band.
God, I do. Usopp's not one of my favorites, but I do love Usopp and everything. Like, and as the series, without spoiling anything, as the series goes on, his endeavors get worse.
You start to see that unlike Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji, who are basically just straight up, we're gonna kick your ass using these powerful moves and techniques. Usopp's more of, I'm gonna kick your ass, but I'm gonna do it strategically. Yeah,
because Usopp doesn't really have like the mega kicks or the sword fighting / gallons of blood extra that Zoro has.
I want to bring up an example of Usopp's strategies in the spoiler corner.
Okay, yes. Yeah. But yeah, he just doesn't have the abilities that the three main guys have, so he's like, I've got to make up for it by strategizing, which he's gonna be a brave warrior in the sea.
Yeah, Luffy stretches, Zoro cuts, Sanji kicks, and Usopp runs. While eventually planning your ass kicking.
Yes! I also loved, apparently Taz, the actor who plays Sanji, like, taught himself, like, he did all the fight scenes himself throughout this. It wasn't a stunt person. He like, taught himself, like, all this kicking, karate, and martial arts
That's
moves.
something I love when actors do that, when they teach themselves their own stunts and their own fight scenes. That's why Jackie Chan's up there with on the top.
And Makinyu, the guy that plays Zoro, he's done a lot of action films in Japan, so he kind of has had that training too. So I like that they're both doing their own stunts. Their banter's perfect. Like, the dynamic between Sanji and Zoro is perfect. It's just like in the manga, where it's just like condescending, nagging at each other, but then they're still crewmates, and they still like each other, but they're like, like the whole scene with getting in the dinner and being like,
they're acting like brothers that are like a year apart.
Yeah, they're like brothers. They're like siblings that just cannot get along, which is funny because they're both like
they cannot get along, but you see they work really well together.
Exactly. And then of course, Luffy is all about the nakama. Luffy is like, you mess with my friends, then it's on. Like, mess with me, one thing. Mess with my friends, we're done. I liked Arlong's sword. I thought
I like they kept Arlong's shark biology in there because that's something that happens. Luffy punches his teeth and says, your teeth are useless. And he just pulls them out and grows new ones in.
I thought the actor that played Arlong did really good in this season.
All the villains have been good.
I thought that Arlong, because Arlong is a douchebag. He is just a loser. He is such a terrible person. And this actor nailed like just that sliminess of him.
And he fits so well as like the final pirate boss before we go to the Grand Line.
Yeah, he's a nice end of season. He was the strongest opposition we had in the East Blue.
And it also shows us one of the other big powers of the sea being the fishmen themselves.
And it establishes we have this one group of people that are probably going to keep coming back because it's the ocean. They're going to be everywhere, right? We get a lot set up in this season, which Oda does really smartly without like making it too obvious until you get further into the season, right? I also like that Zoro, because throughout the manga, Zoro gets cut up a lot. And he's injured a lot. And he's always like, even when he's fighting, he's like, oh yeah, my liver has been sliced. So I like during this that Makinyu's actor like constantly was like, ugh, I've been hurt. Like, he didn't seem invincible there. Buggy. Can we talk about Buggy? I'm at that point of the episode where he gets his body back. I'm glad they did what they did with Buggy.
Let me out of the bag. I can feel my toes.
I love it. And I love the imperfect in character. Because there's a little tiny part of you, if you don't know Buggy's character, there's a little tiny part of you that's like, well, maybe he'll come back and help them. Maybe if they get in a pinch, Buggy will come back. And my brother's like, save the day. But no! That's not Buggy. Buggy's just like, bye! Like, flips him off and goes. Which is...
I kind of expected him to make, like, the hand float behind him.
Floating as he walked away.
Yes.
Oh my god. But that's so in character for Buggy. Buggy's like, I'm not here to help you. What do you think this is? Like, One Piece does a good job of being like, okay, power of the nakama. Friendship cures all. But also there's some characters in this series that friendship is not going to be a thing. Like, Buggy's like, I'm not here to be your friend. I'm here for me. Bye. I think Shanks is probably like the only person Buggy's like iffy about that with. Because they have history. But yeah. I think that Jeff Ward did an amazing job as Buggy. And then seeing him and Alvida at the end, like in the restaurant being like, hey, side villains of season 1, let's team up for season 2 and go after Luffy together. The whole thing with Usopp and the blood, I was trying to figure out how in the world he had blood on him. And then
It's the hot sauce.
Yes, and I was like, where were there berries around that he was trying to, like, how do you have time to mash them up? But it was
in the anime manga, he shoots a rotten egg into Arlong's face, right in his eyes.
Oh.
Choose the one that catches him and brings him back, and Nami fakes kills Usopp.
Oh. And so they're just doing little nods to each of those moments without doing the whole storyline.
Well, that's one of the reasons why Chu said, yeah!
Oh, there we go.
And he does fake kill himself, and he thinks he's just going to play it off that he fought and ran, but then he remembers Nami's suffering, and he decides to agitate the fisherman more by hitting him in the back of the head. Nice.
Yeah, I like that they brought that up, but yeah, the hot sauce thing was great. And I'm glad Usopp got his exploding star moment, even though no one saw it.
All great fighters call out their attacks.
That part with Sanji was so good.
You're going to fit in just fine.
Yes! But I also think, even though Zoro said that, like, as a mean joke, I think at that moment Zoro was like, okay, you're not so bad, because you're kind of like Luffy in that regard. Like, all right, I'll let it go.
I'm still hoping we get season 2. Zoro starts calling out attacks at Whiskey Peaks while nobody's watching, or he thinks nobody's watching. And then Nami's just like, thought great fighters don't have to call out their name.
Yes.
He's just like...
Because it's like, here's the thing. Luffy, and we'll talk about this in Spoiler Corner, Luffy has a personality that you slowly start to kind of mold around it. It slowly starts to change the characters in different ways. And so, and not in a bad way or a weird way, but just like, you just kind of like, it's infectious. His personality's infectious. And so, yeah, that whole idea of calling out moves, and Zoro's like, I'm not going to do that. And it's like, are you not going to do that? You sure about that? It's like SpongeBob when Squidward eats the Krabby Patty, and SpongeBob's like, and Squidward's like, no. And he's like, did you like the Krabby Patty? It's exactly like that meme, right? Oh my gosh. What did you think about the Manta fight?
It is very on par with what happened, because the whole thing was Chu versus Usopp, Kurobo versus Sanji, and Hachi versus Zoro. That was the main 3 of the crew fights. Without Hachi there, it makes sense for Zoro to just be helping deal with the underlings, and then Kurobo gets his ass kicked by
both of them, essentially. Yeah. One thing I like is that it's kind of hard, and one thing I was worried about in One Piece is One Piece follows like the shonen trope of like kind of OP battles and like the power-ups and stuff like that. And I'm like, it's hard to translate that into live action without being hokey and weird. So I do like that they've made this to where it's a little bit more realistic, where we're not going, like, Luffy still gets to use the battle axe, still uses the Gatling, but he's not like going all out every 5 seconds. It's more restrained, I guess. It makes it more realistic.
Well,
to me.
He started being able to break Arlong's teeth.
Yeah, because he started like bleeding from the mouth there at the end, because he was like doing this and there was like blood all over it.
Yeah. So he was steadily doing damage. It's just, it took time for him to get used to how tough a fisherman's skin is, because if they could block bullets, you're going to have to do the Goku method and just hit them really hard.
Right? I love Sanji taking off the jacket. Like, okay, now it's personal. Now you've made me mad. That's enough of that. And then Luffy deciding, I couldn't remember that he destroyed Arlong Park, and so I thought he was gonna set fire to the maps, like knock the torches, and the fire was just gonna and like burn up all the maps. But destroying Arlong Park kind of does the exact same thing. Still gonna destroy all the maps and bury Arlong, so still works either way. So I love the little ceremony where they celebrate everything and Usopp tells the story, and there's like, it felt very Star Wars at the end where C-3PO and R2-D2 are telling the story to the Ewoks of everything that happened. And then I like that Luffy cheers him on. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna let you have this. I'm gonna support you, Usopp.
Luffy doesn't like being called the hero.
Right. Luffy just likes to do things and kind of fly under the radar and just...
And in Luffy's own word, a hero's the guy who gives the food to everybody else. I don't want to do that. I want all the food for myself.
That is the thing, is that Luffy kind of takes the protagonist stereotype of, I'm going to be like the savior complex, and he's like, no, I'm just going to be king of the pirates. I'm not here to do much else, but I also want friends, so.
I want friends and I want food.
I want friends and food. That's all Luffy needs. He's like, friends and food, I'm going to be king of the pirates.
I'm going to let Usopp be the main hero thing, and that, of course, comes back to bite him a certain feather-coated guy.
Mm-hmm. Oh my god, I also love that Nojiko... I love that this show is subtly showing us that Sanji is not getting the ladies. Because when he was just advocating for Nami, and then when she comes out, he's like, Nami! And she just walks right past him.
That happens so much.
I know! And then Nojiko, he was like, come on, I'll give you some private lessons. And she's like, nice try. And the thing of it is, Sanji's not a bad-looking person, but there's just something, it's like the comedic running joke that Sanji tries to get the girl, and it fails every time. And he's just like, well, I just love that they're subtly showing us that.
It worked one time.
Right. Okay, and then the Marines. Garp. In hindsight, this whole scene with Garp is fully in Garp's character. Of Garp just being like, I came to test Luffy. And the thing of it is, Garp is not considering any of the other Marines in this moment. And the fact that they're all there with loaded guns, he's like, I don't care. I gotta teach my grandson the lesson. Just play the part. They're like, what? And then Koby and Helmeppo stand up for Luffy.
I am still under the idea that Koby and Helmeppo will pretty much grow up to be like Garp and Sengoku.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. We'll talk about that in Spoiler Corner. I was trying to think of who Helmeppo would be, but we're going to talk about that in a minute. But yes. I just love that Nami and them are just standing around watching Garp beat up Luffy like, what can we do here? I guess this is Luffy's weird fight with his grandfather.
Well, I got guns at Buford there aimed at him.
Yeah. I feel like we'll have to talk about it in Spoiler Corners, but I'm going to talk about this fight again. Because there's a couple things with it, like you were talking about. But yeah, and then Luffy, when Garp says he's going to train Helmeppo and Koby, I was like, oh, you guys don't even know. Like, we just got a preview of it with his fight against Luffy. Like, come on now. Come on now. We'll go back to this fight, though. And then Nami talks about, getting her tattoo redone. I remember she had her tattoo redone. In the manga, it is more believable because going over, if you've had tattoos covered, it wouldn't quite look like that, but we'll forgive it. The anime can't help it. The series can't help what the anime does, but I like that little moment between Ojiko and Nami at the end. That part was nice. And then Koby and Luffy with the wanted poster. That I agree. I feel like Luffy and Kobe's relationship is like Roger and Garp, but I absolutely love it. I want to talk more about it in the Spoiler Corner, but it's just such a good moment. It's like, and Luffy's so proud to get a wanted poster. So it's like Nezumi's ultimate act of revenge didn't work. It's like he still got just put down at the end.
I would have liked for them to see Koby come back and he's like, well, is that pirate afraid now? He goes, no, he's excited. Yeah.
I want Nezumi's ultimate comeuppance is just the wanted poster not working. Yes, and I love, oh my god, I was hoping we get a montage at the end of everybody seeing the wanted poster. Now, Zoro is correct. Zoro being a bounty hunter is like, this has made things a lot worse. Because now all these bounty hunters are going to come after us, which is some nice foreshadowing. I want to see, okay, There is on the map here, it says the country of Vera overtaken by the Revolutionary Army. It says that on the newspaper. Okay. So we'll have to talk about that. And we see, we're going to talk about that in a minute. The logo is of a dragon's head and the Revolutionary Army. So exciting. Okay, wanted dead or alive. And I like that Buggy instantly goes to dead. Buggy's like, I'm gonna kill the little shit myself. He's like, I'm not gonna leave him alive. No, we know how dangerous that is. And then Garp telling them that he's gonna train Helmeppo and Koby. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. The Shanks and MIHAWK.
The soft guitar.
Oh! Oh!
They knew what they were doing.
The soft guitarist MIHAWK shows up on the beach. Oh! Because we've been talking about the Discord about how Shanks and MIHAWK are drinking buddies. And then just like, I thought that we'd get Shanks seeing the wanted poster, but I forgot that MIHAWK shows up and is like, because that's what happens, right?
Yeah, he shows up to show him the bounty poster.
I forgot it was MIHAWK that did it. I knew that Shanks got a hold of it, but I was thinking his crew member showed it. So when MIHAWK showed it, I'm like, oh, yes. And I love that MIHAWK's like, I thought you were drunk. He's like, I'm still drunk.
Lighten up, you sober old man.
It's called Hair of the Dog for a reason. I love that they're all so proud of Luffy being a pirate. And MIHAWK's like, okay, you weirdos. I guess I'll have a drink with y'all. Weird. Just freaking love it. It's so good. And then, did they give her the tangerine trees on the boat?
They took the tangerine boat trees onto the boat, yeah.
I could not remember if they did or not originally.
They did. To be fair, you're kind of right. It's not the optimal place for trees.
I'm like, if they get attacked and like the cannons are gonna blow up the trees on the ship. There went your tangerine tarts, Nami. Sorry, but it's a cute concept. I think it's adorable that they got the little boxes to put.
They kind of have a better. They get a better ship, and it becomes a little bit more plausible. Yeah,
but it's cute here. I like it. I think it's fun. But yeah, and then of course I freaking love Luffy's actor and how he reacted to seeing the Jolly Roger. It was like a kid in a candy store. It was so cute. I'm like, yes, Luffy's so happy that he has his. And I like the Garp's like, look, you can't play pirates anymore. You are a pirate. They're going to be coming for you. Are you ready for this?
Bring them on.
Mm-hmm. It's like, you're going to the Grand Line is not simple. And there's going to be lots of problems. So, yep. But I do have spoilers that I want to talk about. So, we definitely need to talk about it. I do love the little barrel scene at the end because they do it in the manga. They have their little feet up on the barrel.
They do it after Logtown, though.
Okay, so they do it later. But
yeah, but this is for like end of the first season. This is kind of a lot better.
Mm-hmm. Although we'll talk about Nami's thing in a minute, the map of the world and all that. Nice. But yeah, they do that, and then we have who we'll talk about in the spoiler corner, the mysterious man with 2 cigars, looking at the poster of Luffy. With all the smoke. So I specifically have lots of things I want to talk about in the spoiler corner. So if you're not sticking around for the spoiler corner, thank you for watching this season of One Piece. Definitely going to be back to do One Piece again when it comes back for season 2. But in the meantime, I hope you all enjoyed this reaction and discussion and enjoyed our reaction and discussion for all of One Piece season 1. So if you're not sticking around, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and I'll see you all in other reactions. Smoker! Oh my gosh, I didn't know if they'd show us him or not. I really didn't. He's got the furry collar, he's got the 2 cigars, he's got the crazy white hair. It's just covered in smoke. Is there any significance to the rocks being piled up beside him, or is that just like his structure of order?
I think that might be a structure of order.
Oh my god, I freaking love that Smoker's being hinted at. Love it. Like, yes, please. And he has like bricks as paperweights. Amazing. Yes, please. Love that. So, okay, remind me again, because again, it has been years since I've read this part of the manga. The Grand Line it goes up a mountain, doesn't it?
The reverse mountain, yeah.
The reverse mountain. That's what I thought. I was like, it goes the reverse mountain, and that's how you get there.
That's one of the ways.
Yes.
It also happens to be one of the more safer ways, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and they try to go. That's like
the other way is through the calm belt,
and that's the not good way.
That is main monster territory.
Yeah, that's the not good way. That's the way we don't.
That's when we get things that could eat the sea monster from a few episodes ago up like it was Nemo, like it's a shark.
That's the thing that we don't want.
Yeah.
So it's like, haha. God, I love the Shanks and MIHAWK scene. That scene with him getting the poster is so fun. It's freaking great.
And the whole crew cheering for Luffy.
Yes! And MIHAWK's just like, figured you wanted this. Whatevs. I love that he's like, you're only half the man you used to be. And I'm like, he just lost an arm.
I could still take you with this arm tied behind my back.
It's like, in a fight? In a fight? Love it. Okay. I was trying to think in the episode because Koby is a lot like Garp to Luffy's Roger, but I was trying to think of what Helmeppo would be, but Son Goku is perfect. I'm like, no, that's exactly what it is. It's what I'm ready for like long blonde haired Helmeppo who's got the sword fighting ability, and Koby has like the bandana and can take the glasses off. Like, I'm ready for that.
Yeah, because that was when they originally met in the anime and manga. After Garp like takes them on and takes them as students,
and then that's when they found. So I do like. I really loved Koby's actor and Helmeppo's actor. I hope they kind of keep coming back, sort of as. I hope the Marine story thread just keeps on following the storyline in this, even though they're not canonly in the story. I hope they still stay around and we see like them training and stuff just on and off.
And like getting more world building stuff, like maybe celestial dragons.
Yeah,
stuff like that.
You could kind of do behind the scenes like world building for us, for the audience that doesn't know it, by including, if you're going to cut out storylines, you could have the Marines talking about it as it goes through. Or
since the next big part is going to be Alabasta, they could be talking about like all the countries, the world. Governments, like meeting of the kings, stuff like that, while Luffy and them deal with like the pirate issues. They could be discussing, they could be detailing what the whole world is, kind of like how Helmeppo explained the warlords. Yes, I do love Velveeta showing up there again, and it makes sense because in Logtown, that's when we meet Velveeta and Buggy again. Yes, because it makes sense why they're together there. There was, where was it at? I wish I could see it better. Yeah, so on there, it said, it has the symbol of the dragon from the Revolutionary Army and says Vera, the country of Vera, overtaken by the Revolutionary Army. So they're prepping Dragon to show up, like. And Dragon technically gets brought up by Garp when they meet the first time. He was supposed to say, like, yeah, I heard you ran into your dad. Monkey D. Dragon. Yes. Okay, I was going to talk about the D. Which, that could be another reason to keep the Marines around, is that whenever Luffy, after Logtown, after he meets Smoker and Tashigi and Dragon, and is like, who the hell was that? And then Garp's like, yeah, that's your dad. And everybody's like, your dad! And Luffy's like, oh yeah. Just... And Luffy's just like, okay. Yeah, but whatever. I thought that the part where they're laughing, like Luffy laughing about being king of the pirates and then Garp laughing, that's like a D thing, right? All of the Ds are supposed to smile and laugh when they die. In the face of danger and when they die. Because was Rosa Sante, like Doflamingo's brother, was he a D too? Corazon? Yeah, Corazon. Or was he not? I can't remember. I don't think Corazon was, but he did die he did smile when he died. But he was protecting Law. Right, who is Trafalgar D. Law. Water D. Law. Water D. Law. Yeah. Yes. I'm like, okay. So, yeah, the D's all, and they haven't even brought up the Will of D yet. They've not even brought it up. No. There was, whenever Luffy was fighting Garp, there was a moment I thought Haki was being used, because you could kind of see, like, the visible, like, little layer around him. Did you notice that? That is, up till now in the anime and manga, anytime somebody punches Luffy, it doesn't hurt him. Right. Because, once again, rubber. Kind of like Buggy with swords. But when he gets gets hit with water or sea stone that weakens that devil fruit, except for when it involves Garp.
Right.
Garp's our first little preview of Haki.
Mm-hmm.
Just like how Kuro.
Shanks used it with the sea monster.
Yeah, and Kuro is our first demonstration of the 6 powers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I saw that little sheen on Garp when he was fighting Luffy. I'm like, that's Haki. They just aren't acknowledging it, but it's there.
Yeah.
Which is cool because if you know it in One Piece, you're like, oh yeah, that's what he's using.
For those of you who don't, if
it's
you're like the character we just saw, Smoker, who could turn his body into smoke, use Haki and punch him, you're gonna be able to knock his teeth out.
Yeah. So I like that they're revealing things but not telling us what they're revealing, just like the paper and everything. Like they're just setting stuff up, being like, if you're paying attention,
they're setting it up to where you go back and go like, oh!
Right? Yes. Now, was Usopp in the wanted poster of Luffy at the beginning? Okay.
And he actually says to Sanji, oh, don't be jealous.
I'm still waiting. It's going to be so long from now, but when Doflamingo, when the God Usopp poster comes out.
And for that shithead at the top of my list.
Yes!
God Usopp, 5 stars! What was it, like 500 million?
Yes!
Burying? He's just like...
Yes! God! It's one of my favorite Doflamingo Usopp moments in general.
Just like, Usopp's done everything to stay under the radar.
Yes.
And then Doflamingo's like...
He pissed him off.
I don't even remember how he pissed him off.
I think it was something really simple. Like, all Usopp did was, like, punch him in the face, like, hit him with something. And it was the most simple thing. And you were just like... But it was the simplest thing, but it allowed Luffy and them to escape. And then Doflamingo was like, that's it. Just like, that was the last straw. Like, Doflamingo was at his wit's end.
This is the mastermind behind the Straw Hats.
Yes! And
this is their main strategist.
And Usopp's like, oh my god, no, that's not what I wanted.
Everything Usopp does benefits the crew, but then turns out to be really bad for him.
And that's the thing, like, the villains in One Piece just get better and better as it goes on. Like, they just get crazier and crazier. But Doflamingo's one of the best. Like, Doflamingo's gonna be hard to cast because he has such a Joker personality, but he's just, oh my god, there's so much to him, to his character. What else was I gonna say on here? Yeah, the Garp and Luffy, the fight, everything, them, Dragon getting brought up, the crew, Helmeppo and them laughing and everything. It's great. Love it. What were you going to say was one of the Usopp moments later on?
When he goes against Perona at Gecko Moria's castle.
Oh, yeah.
One of the he uses a tactic where he shoots this, like, cannonball-sized ammunition just for it to burst open and have toy cockroaches that freaks her out. And then while she's distracted by that, somehow he inflates and shows off a 10-ton hammer. And acts like he's strong enough to lift 10 tons to smash down on her just for it to pop when it hits her forehead.
Honestly, of all the One Piece character designs, Perona's one of my favorites. I love the little ghost with her. I love her ability. I love her umbrella. I love that she's with Mihawk at the end of all people.
We also see the Usopp hammer return in the Alabasta arc against Mr. 4, where he brings out the 4-ton hammer, which they showed in a little side special, that it's actually just a stick, a hollow piece of metal, and the ends of 2 frying pans on the end.
I don't know if they're going to do that in this, because that's so kooky, but I hope they pay homage to it. I hope that they give him, like, an actual hammer or something, and then he just picks it up and goes, I don't know if I'm going to use this or not. I'm glad they ended with a little preview of Smoker. That was really a smart thing to do.
Well, he finishes Mr. 4 by firing a hammer into his gut, which sends him back into the bazooka dog.
Just describing that, people that haven't watched One Piece are like, what?
Yes. Not only people, but there's this mad scientist who found a way to infuse devil fruits into objects.
Because why not?
Thus creating things like a sword that can turn into an elephant, or a bazooka that can turn into a dog.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love it. I love it so much. Okay, the person, Julius, over on Discord was talking about, we could have mentioned the parallels. Did we mention the parallels between Sabati Park and Arlong Park? They look very, very similar. Did we mention that last week? that Arlong Park is based a lot on Savati or Saboti in
I don't
design.
think we did.
Yeah, but in design they were pointing out pictures of the manga where it showed Arlong Park with the structure like it is, and then Savati Park is designed the same way.
It makes sense because Savati is where a lot of the slaves are sold, the so-called illegal slaves.
And it's like there's an irony there because Arlong wants to free the fishmen, but his entire place is designed to look exactly like where.
Well, he says he's taking pages out of the humans' books.
Mm-hmm. But then it's like you're still doing the same thing, so it's like, are you any better? You know, one of those.
He doesn't
scenarios.
really care.
Right, but that's the point. That's the thematic thing. Oda's like, you just because you're imitating, you're not any better.
A lot of the stuff after like the Skypea, the CP0, a lot of that. You could sometimes tie back to, after Gecko Moria, you could tie back to, like, the beginning of One Piece.
Mm-hmm.
Where after they get past Sabaody, it's like going into the Grand Line, they go into the New World. They immediately go for Doflamingo, who is a lot like Crocodile.
Yes, only worse.
Only worse.
Only worse. Big Mom's like Alvida, only worse.
Yeah.
Only worse. Yeah. Blackbeard's not really like anybody. Blackbeard is Blackbeard.
Blackbeard's an asshole.
Yes, very much so. And then I can't wait to see Marco, to see Whitebeard, to see Ace. I mean, we're gonna definitely probably see Vivi next season. Probably see Chopper, Ace, Smoker, Tashigi.
I also stand by my thing that if the dark fruit didn't take away devil fruit powers and give them to the user, it's the dumbest devil fruit ever.
Yeah,
it's supposed to be a Logia, but Logia's intangibility can be canceled out by their opposites. Fireman gets tangible by getting water on him, same with sand. Dark, light hits you, you can't go through, and unless you're in a pitch black room with like no light,
which is why he puts the cover over.
Yeah. You can't dodge any techniques. Because it's gravity based, you get hit harder than what it was.
Yeah, it's a weird power. It's very bizarre.
Unless you specifically knew that it could take the power of other devil fruits in a pitch dark room, it's kind of useless.
Right, yeah. But if you use it properly, then it's a problem, which is kind of what Blackbeard's done with it. He's figured out how to use it to his advantage. Sad days. Yeah, I forgot that the tangerine trees were on the Going Merry at first, and then later on with the Sunny, it's a little bit different. Let me see if there's any other spoilery things worth mentioning. God, I love Buggy being in this. It's so fun. Yeah, I'm just really excited to see the next season. I hope the Marine through line keeps on going.
That's me talking with Garp and Koby trying to call him out. And he's like, I'm a Marine captain. I'm a vice admiral.
It was like, yeah, like
if you're gonna have a dick slinging competition, make sure I'm not in the room.
Oh my God, yeah. And the crazy thing is that it's like this series has just started, and there's so many characters and so much that hasn't even been like revealed yet. It's kind of insane, but I'm really excited that they'll have a second season. I can't wait. Other than One Piece. If you're going to plug any series that you would join me for, what would they be if I happen to watch them in the future?
Fate Zero.
Fate Zero? You would join me for the Fate Zero journey? Okay.
Well, you gotta watch Fate Zero before any of the other Fate series.
That's such a daunting task. It's not one yet, but it may down the line, so...
I'm not asking you to watch all of them because the Stay Nights, Heaven's Feel... They're basically the same, but different routes from the little.
We'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Novel.
We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But yeah,
I kind of choose.
You wouldn't join me for JoJo's.
Possibly JoJo's. It depends
on the part.
Like I keep saying, you could skip parts 1 and 2.
Look.
Haman does not come back.
I don't want to know. Look, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, but you may just have to, I may have to do parts 1 and 2 on my own, and then you could join me at part 3.
Yeah.
We could do that. You could join me at part 3 if we get to JoJo's, and go from there. Oh, I'm I'm so sad One Piece is over, but now we can go back and rewatch fun moments and all of that, and I'll go rewatch all the MIHAWK moments because I just can't wait for MIHAWK and Perona and Zoro to be like on the island training. I know that's so far away, but that part would be so good.
Until you've learned Haki, no alcohol.
Yes! And it's one of those things where MIHAWK, like, you believe it because, like, when he shows up as Shanks, he doesn't seem like, MIHAWK seems like the kind of guy that would have a drink with you, but is not drinking all the time. So he's just like...
He's the responsible
he's
driver.
He's the designated driver of the pirates. MIHAWK is the DD. MIHAWK's like, I will get you from point A to point B, you rowdy crew. Like, Shanks and Buggy and them were passed out, and MIHAWK's like, I guess I'm the one that has to be the adult here. He is raising Perona. He does have a kid. So even though she's like a teenager. That's great. Do we see Jewelry Bonnie in the next arc?
Not until Sabaody.
Not until Sabaody.
At Sabaody, that's when we meet the rest of the worst generation.
Yes, okay.
Beige, Uru,
Kid.
Mm-hmm. I can't remember his name. He's Oppo.
Oppo. Oh, yeah, Oppo. That's right.
That's like the body that can turn into musical instruments and attack with sound waves.
Well, that makes sense because Jewelry Bonnie is Kuma's kid, so that makes sense of why.
And she's one of the worst generation until Akane pretty much burns her whole crew with magma.
Oh my god, Akainu.
After Blackbeard, like, beat them all.
Akainu is terrifying. I'm not ready for him. They have to cast, like, the worst person to be him because he's such a menace. No. It's like Blackbeard is strong, but, like, I'm more afraid of...
Even he ran when he heard Akainu was coming.
Yeah, I'm more afraid of Akainu than Blackbeard.
Especially when you're on the open sea and the guy can launch magma at you.
Yeah, which right now in the manga, have you been keeping up with Saturn and all that business? Like, the guys... I'm like, Oda still has all of these villains to face. Like, we have Emu to worry about, and Saturn and all them. But then we still have Blackbeard. We still have Akainu. We still have, I mean, those are mainly it at this point. Shanks has to meet up with Luffy at some point. But...
I'm trying to remember if they have if they just need one more of the red poneglyphs. I think they do. They got the one from Zoroa. They got the one for Big Mom. And they recently just got the one from Wano. Which means they have... the one more to get, I think, from the Egghead Island.
Yeah.
Or it could be the next island, I don't know.
God.
But they gotta deal with Saturn first, who's based on the number 5 under the little spell circle he has, maybe like the weakest of the Gorosei. And he's a demon spider bull.
I'm just like, oh my god.
Getting the yokai up in here.
I just like Akainu, Blackbeard, and Emu are like the 3 biggest bad characters of the series, and we are nowhere near them. So even though Oda's like, it's the final arc, I'm like, we're gonna be here for 10 years. Like, you're not getting this done anytime soon, and he doesn't care. Which, you know, kudos to Oda. He needs to go at his own pace. Like, if you tell the story you want to tell, you've been doing it for 30 years. What's 10 more years at this point? Maybe it won't be 10 years, but I think it's gonna be.
I'm just glad we got Gear 5.
I know, with Niku. Nika, thank you. Yeah. Exciting, but now we're going back to Log Town. That's gonna be so fun. Yeah, but... Well, thanks for joining me on the quest with One Piece.
No problem.
Been a while since Arcane, so... Been a while. Whenever they decide to make Arcane Season 2, that'd be great. Do that, but we'll see which comes first. Fate Zero, Arcane Season 2, or One Piece Season 2. Or JoJo's. which of the 4 will come first?
Hopefully Fate Zero.
So, I think it's gonna be on a future poll though, because we have fantasy and supernatural next of genres. I think Fate Zero was one of the ones I had slated for that. So we'll see how it does. But in any case, thank you guys so much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed our dive into One Piece, the live action. I'm excited to talk to you all in the Discord and in the comments section. Please leave your comments down below. But in any case, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and I'll see you next time for more reactions.